Let's read Exodus chapter 24. And he said unto Moses, Come up unto the Lord, thou and Aaron, Nadab and Abihu, and 70 of the elders of Israel, and worship ye afar off. And Moses alone shall come near the Lord, but they shall not come nigh, neither shall the people go up with them. And Moses came and told the people all the words of the Lord, and all the judgments, and all the people answered with one voice, and said, All the words which the Lord hath said will we do. And Moses wrote all the words of the Lord, and rose up early in the morning, and builded an altar under the hill, and 12 pillars according to the 12 tribes of Israel. Let me read that again. Verse 4. And Moses wrote all the words of the Lord, and rose up early in the morning, and builded an altar under the hill, and 12 pillars according to the 12 tribes of Israel. And he sent young men of the children of Israel, which offered burnt offerings and sacrificed peace offerings of oxen unto the Lord. And Moses took half of the blood and put it in basins, and half of the blood he sprinkled on the altar. And he took the book of the covenant and read in the audience of the people, and they said, All that the Lord hath said will we do, and be obedient. And Moses took the blood and sprinkled it on the people, and said, Behold, the blood of the covenant which the Lord hath made with you concerning all these words. Then went up Moses and Aaron, Nadab and Abihu, and 70 of the elders of Israel. And they saw the God of Israel, and there was under his feet as it were a paved work of a sapphire stone, and as it were the body of heaven in his clearness. And upon the nobles of the children of Israel he laid not his hand. Also they saw God, and did eat and drink. Verse 12. And the Lord said unto Moses, Come up to me into the mount, and be there, and I will give thee tables of stone, and a law and commandments which I have written, and thou mayest teach them. I'll read that again. Verse 12. And the Lord said unto Moses, Come up to me into the mount, and be there, and I will give thee tables of stone, and a law and commandments which I have written, that thou mayest teach them. And Moses rose up, and his minister Joshua and Moses went up into the mount of God. And he said unto the elders, Tarry ye here for us until we come again unto you, and behold, Aaron and Hur are with you. If any man have any matters to do, let him come unto them. And Moses went up into the mount, and a cloud covered the mount, and the glory of the Lord abode upon Mount Sinai, and the cloud covered it 6 days. And the 7th day he called unto Moses out of the midst of the cloud, and the sight of the glory of the Lord was like devouring fire on the top of the mount, and the eyes of the children of Israel. And Moses went into the midst of the cloud, and gat him up into the mount, and Moses was in the mount 40 days and 40 nights. Let me read verse 14 again, because I think I relearned something. Let me read verse 13 through 15. And Moses rose up, and his minister Joshua and Moses went up into the mount of God. And he said unto the elders, Tarry ye here for us until we come again unto you, and behold, Aaron and Hur are with you. If any man have any matters to do, let him come unto them. And Moses went up into the mount, and a cloud covered the mount. Okay, I'll give you my interpretation of this chapter. God called Moses to come up and worship him up close, and he told Moses to leave Aaron, Nadab, and Abihu, and 70 elders of Israel to worship God from afar, because as you read into the book, Moses was blameless. Let's keep going. Quote unquote, Moses came and told the people all the words of the Lord and all the judgments, and all the people answered with one voice, and said, all the words which the Lord hath said we will do. Now that's a phenomenon. How did all these people say the same thing? Think about it. God is that powerful. Let's keep reading. Let's keep going, Then Moses built an altar under the hill the next morning, and sprinkled half the blood of animal sacrifices in the basins and on the altar. Then Moses took the book of the covenant and read it in front of the people. That they said, will we do and be obedient at the same time? Okay, let me read this again. This is my interpretation of it. Then Moses took the book of the covenant and read it in front of the people. They said, quote unquote, will we do and be obedient, end of quote, at the same time. Then, this is where I assume the olive oil comes from, when church pastors put olive oil on your forehead. Let's read verse 8. Quote unquote, and Moses took the blood and sprinkled it on the people, and said, behold, the blood of the covenant which the Lord hath made with you concerning all these words. Then the few people and the elders came up to the altar and saw God standing on a sapphire stone, telling Moses to take the Hebrews up to the mount. If they I'm gonna disregard this one, because I had to read the Bible again, and I realized that that the Hebrews had the other Hebrews had to stay a distance away from a certain part from the mount because only Moses could go up there. I'm going to read that verse again so I can give you my interpretation of it. Then God wrote on tablets, that's where you hear about him in the movies. The clouds came onto Mount Sinai, and Moses came up there for 40 days and 40 nights. But let me read this verse again. I don't know if I get it, but I'll have the balls to read it. And the Lord, so we'll start with verse 12, and we'll go up to verse 15. Starting with verse 12. And the Lord said unto Moses, come up to me into the mount, and be there, and I will give thee tables of stone, and a law and commandments which I have written, that thou mayest teach them. He could teach them because he is blameless. As you read on later in the Bible. And it might even be in Genesis, and I probably just have to read it over again, because I relearn things reading something over and over again in the Bible. Verse 13, okay, we'll start at 12 again. And the Lord said unto Moses, come up to me into the mount, and be there, and I will give thee tables of stone, and a law and commandments which I have written, that thou mayest teach them. And Moses rose up, and his minister Joshua, and Moses went up into the mount of God. And he said unto the elders, Tarry ye here for us until we come again. Oh, okay. And Moses rose up, and his minister Joshua, and Moses went up to into the mount of God. And he said unto the elders, Tarry ye here for us until we come again unto you, and behold, Aaron and Hur are with you. If any man have any matters to do, let him come unto him. Let him come unto him. And Moses went up into the mountain, and a cloud covered the mount. So this is kind of trivial. This is the Bible trivia that I have a question for you to interpret. I'll start with verse 12 and I'll end at verse 14. And the Lord said unto Moses, Come up to me into the mount, and be there, and I will give thee tables of stone, and a law and commandments which I have written, that thou mayest teach them. And Moses rose up, and his minister Joshua, and Moses went up into the mount of God. And he said unto the elders, Tarry ye here for us. Oh, tarry, T-A-R-R-Y or T-E-R-R-E means like a stop. And he said unto the elders, Stop ye here for us until we come again unto you. And behold, Aaron and Hur are with you. If any man have any matters to do, let him come unto him. So I guess like if they have a sin that they want to get rid of, they could get rid of it, but they have to stop at a certain place, and they have to come up with permission, I assume. I didn't read too far into that, but yeah, I don't know. What do you think? Verse 12 to 14, give me your thoughts on it, because this is the trivia that I have a question on. So thank you very much, and have a good night.